Tatera, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. All right. Waiting for Paul. How we doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen? We are just waiting on Paul to join. I notably didn't message him today, so there's a chance that he completely forgot. Or he could be running late. me. Okay, no, he's online. He's coming in. Oh, damn it. I need us to switch. How we doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. I need to try something. I need me to be on the left.
How can you change that?
I don't.
I think yourself is always on the left because I'm on the left.
Well, I'm on the right on my screen.
Oh, you are on the right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Wait, are you on the right?
Let me leave. Did that fix it?
No, the second you turn your video on, it puts me on the left side. Put your video on again. All right. Well, let me make a. No, I'm just gonna make a very quick adjustment. We should be fine.
Try turning yours off and turning it back on.
I tried that. I stay on the right, and then I hop over to the left. But then you're gonna replace me on the left.
Wait, let me put mine on first.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know.
What?
So I gotta edit the Photoshop thing real quick. Hold up.
Is it like the person with the camera on goes to the left and then it does it alphabetically? Maybe it's alphabetical.
It might be alphabetically. I think you might be right on that, actually. Podcast background template.
That's weird.
If I go PNG, if I replace it, that should automatically do that, and I shouldn't have to change a thing. So then, if I do this, if all works well. Wait. We need this to be. Boom. We have upgraded ever so slightly on the quality, folks. As I finally.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. I took some time, went through, finally learned how to do it. We finally have a title. I don't care if it's centered or not. Couldn't give a shit. It's a little bit off center, but that's fine. Who cares?
Oh, man.
I know.
That's a fancy graphic you made.
Took me about 20 minutes. That was about it. Not all that fancy.
Pretty good.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 150 of the Crossover Podcast. Hard to believe we've been doing this shit for this long.
Yeah.
We're coming up. We're what? 4 or 6 episodes off of 3 years?
Yeah.
Because it's 52 weeks in a year, so it'd be 156 total.
That's kind of crazy.
Kind of wild. What even made us start? I'm trying to think. Was it the GAM thing that made us start doing it?
Yes, you texted me. You wanted to make a podcast, and you wanted me to do it with you, and that it was supposed to be us. Basically, you called it crossover. That was your idea.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, the idea is we're gonna cover multiple leagues. We'll talk about GAM in Vietnam, which I think was kind of tied to No, it was just GAM.
No, they were NRG at the time.
They were? Okay, yeah.
Because that was I thought was gonna be like how Optic possibly comes back in at some point in time. Little did I know.
Yeah. They ended up just cutting the NRG thing from Vietnam very fast.
Yeah. The second they could get the LCS slot, it was like, well, bye-bye that.
And we were like, well, I guess we can still talk about plenty of League of Legends, so it doesn't really matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now I think next year is going to be the year that we finally get that title to be realistic again.
Are you actually watching LCK? Is that your plan?
I'm pretty dead set on doing it for multiple reasons. One, in the last give or take month and a half, I've gained a lot of followers on TikTok that want to talk LCK. like a lot, to the
Ah,
point where it's notable. Like on, if you look at the viewership numbers of any time I talk about LCK, every time it's mentioned, the videos get 40,000 views minimum. Every time I talk about the LCS over the last week and a half, 6,000 views, 3,000 views, 8,300 views, uh, and beyond. And it's because a lot of people started following me because of Worlds coverage and talking about like international League of Legends. And I think I'm at the point now where it's like I'm doing a disservice to myself by not doing it. And it also helps that I'm starting to get interested in it.
what team are you thinking?
I don't know.
Is that under wraps for now?
I honestly haven't thought about it. Uh, because I'm not willing to say what's going to be happening the week after Thanksgiving. But I will say I'm holding off on making a decision until after a conversation is had there.
Okay.
You already know about it. Nobody else does.
Yeah.
I haven't told a soul. So
Yeah.
I'm
I've
waiting.
been teasing things in the lounge.
Oh, you have?
Not like actually who it
That's
is. I've
fine.
been saying there's some. I was like, Dave's been talking to some people. And I was like, I think some big things could be coming. Like, what
So
is it Pat calls it? Pat McAfee says, some something's up season.
yeah,
Pretty much that's what you're in right now.
yeah. So
I'd say something's up.
I want to do a whole YouTube video, kind of like I was gonna do this for the LCS in the case of the 100 Thieves left, but now I think I could just do it for the LCK for the sake of doing it. I
Mhm.
want to deep dive into who are the teams of the LCK, what brands are behind them, because like Homo Life is obviously like insurance, and I want to know like all the companies behind them. I want to know what content's like, all this. I want to do a bunch of research, try and see what I like about each brand, what I don't, and go from there.
That's fair.
I'd be lying if I said the T1 wasn't appealing off the rip.
Yeah.
Kwandong Freaks is appealing because of Berserker. Gen G because I've talked to Arnold a few times now.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I need to join another team that is known for choking on the international stage.
I honestly, you could be in a position as well where it's like just viewing it right now as the reporter side.
Yeah.
I don't think is the worst thing
No.
if you wanted to do that. Like you don't have to have a team in LCK and LCS. You can just appreciate it for what it is and do it for what you're
I
doing it
can,
for,
but
which is
it gives me a further reason to
okay.
watch it. Like even if it's
True.
not the team that I
It
stick
does.
with, I think I will definitely pick like a team to follow for sure.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't mean that like that'll be like a forever like, oh, I'm gonna support this team forever in the LCK. It's just like having a team angle is nice for me. It gives me the ability to shit talk, to get in on the action, to understand a little bit more of the means rather than just like following the results. Especially because what I
Mm.
want to do each morning is similar to what I did to Worlds. I want to wake up each morning, be able to watch the highlights of LCK, and then like finish whatever video or finish whatever series is ongoing, and then every day around like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, put out a video that recaps all the action from LEC, LCS, and LCK. If you want to follow LPL, somebody can go do that on their own. There's 16 teams. I'm not fucking worrying about it. That's somebody else's problem, not mine. But for
And I
those
mean,
three,
without an English broadcast, that's
yeah,
gonna be hard.
that's and what I'm gonna watch code
Yeah.
streams and everything else is like that. Like, go watch Cadril, go watch Dom. That's where you're gonna be watching it in the first place. But like all the ones that do have an English broadcast, that's only 6 matches a day.
Yeah.
At most, it's not a lot to realistically cover in one video, and then have like a recap on Monday or Tuesday on the dead day to just go over the standings of each region, and basically
Yeah,
kind of
that's
like
fair.
as things shift towards international League of Legends, start shifting my coverage to more international league as well. That way, I know what I'm talking about as well.
Hmm.
Plus, LCK offseason just literally has me like the salary cap shit, dude. It's so fascinating. I love every minute of it.
Is it?
Oh, dude, it's so much fun. We need it in North America badly.
Sorry, I'm looking at my
You
lamps.
look lost. You look like a puppy dog that couldn't find his.
I'm picking
salary.
I'm picking a lamp while you're talking about salary cap stuff. I don't know numbers enough in LCK.
So there was a comment that captured it pretty well that I can actually read out so that you understand
Mhm.
what it is, why it is.
I know it for like I would say sports,
Yeah.
regular sports, but LCK, I feel like I'm just gonna wait a couple years while they all figure out what the perfect way to do it is.
So I think the LCK actually has a pretty solid method as is. So
Okay.
rumored, the salary cap is $3.2 million.
hmm
Anything above that, up to 6.4 million or 200% of the cap, you get a luxury tax. Like you get taxed on the amount that you go over the cap. That amount obviously goes back to the league and is distributed to the other team. So in other words, the more you go over, the more you end up funding the other teams in the league.
Okay.
There are ways to get around the salary cap to a certain extent, which are three exceptions. One, if you have, I think it's 2 international wins on behalf of the LCK, it drops to 50% or something like that. I think it
What?
was. Yeah, it's 50% of your salary counts towards it. Uh, there's if you're with a team for longer than 3 years, I think it's 20. It's like somewhere around like 30ish% off. And then the other one, what was the other one? If you win a certain amount of LCK titles. So it's like if you're
What?
with the team for a long period of time, if you win a certain amount of LCK titles or if you win a certain amount of international titles, your salary
Okay.
gets like only a percentage of your salary gets counted towards the cap. Which
Oh,
is
okay. The Euros one is fine. I don't know. The rest of it though is like the winning one is weird.
but I
I've
think it's
never
like
seen anybody do that.
I think it's 3
I'm
titles.
not. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just new.
Yeah.
It's
No,
like ramen.
I've never seen somebody do that type of thing either. But like it's good because then it keeps you in the region.
Yeah.
Because that discount will apply to any team that you go to. Same thing for like Faker. And the big question for everybody with T1 was, okay, I think it's 3 international events. I think is like
You
the
have to
50.
win 3.
Hang on, let me
I mean, you're
LCK.
fine.
No, because I want to know specifically
Yeah.
what I'm referencing here. Uh,
But that would be like a real rich get richer type of thing. You know what I mean?
yep. But I mean, the thing is that all it still rewards you. Okay, here I found the LCK
Yeah, and more
article itself.
importantly, it rewards players, I guess.
Oh, of course, the article is not fucking live anymore. What is this crap? Okay, 50% of a player's salary will be exempt from the cap if that star has won 5 or more LCK splits in their career. So five is a ton, especially when now you only have one. Like think about it. You only have one so you have to win 5 years now of LCK to be able to get to that point. The second is you also get you get 50% off if you've won 3 international tournaments like MSI and Worlds. So Faker qualifies, notably Guma, Keria, Zeus, and Owner do not. They've only won Worlds twice. They have not won MSI at all. So they do not qualify for that. The other one is 30% if you are a veteran of the org with 3 years spent on the team. And if you count for
Okay.
both of those in either way, shape, or form, it will always be the lower of the two, with the exception being that if you qualify for 2 of the 50%, then it's just still 50%. If you qualify for the 30% and 50%, it goes to 40. That way, it's like a middle ground.
Wait, so if you qualify for both, it goes to 40?
Correct.
Or you mean the highest?
It's saying this is what it's saying. Now, this could have changed since then, but like I'm just reading it out. It says Should a player satisfy multiple exemptions, the discount will instead be from 30 to 40%.
Hmm. In, Strange, but either way, I mean, 30% for the 3 years makes sense. The other three, I guess, are to Tatara made a good point. The other three are probably just to keep players in the region.
Yeah, that's the big thing that you want.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you're encouraging developing talent if you can keep a player with
Mhm.
an org for 3+ years, especially like early on in their career. If you start winning, obviously that's heavily beneficial. But the big thing with the salary cap then is like for T1, okay, your cap's no longer 6.4 million. Because Faker can now exceed that. Like you have to take in
Yeah,
addition to that, you have to take the 30-40% discount. So realistically, they could pay probably close to, or I think they had the number here on Reddit. Uh, T1 had $8.3 million of salary cap when the rule or the ceiling was 6.4. Just by nature of if everybody
mhm.
re-signed on that roster because they would have been 3 years with the org. And
Yeah,
then Faker has the 50% as well.
yeah. Which isn't like part of me wants to say, "Oh man, that's the rich get richer from it," but I'm also like, that's good for the players more than likely, because I mean they'll keep getting paid what they're owed, and it really combats the rich get richer thing when you take into the fact T1's not even winning LCK that much,
No. And
really at all. They
even if
haven't
they
won it in
did go
2 years.
to that cap, say they went to 8 million,
Yeah,
you're paying a luxury tax on $5 million that's going to the other teams around you. That will eventually bite you. And it's
yeah,
not like you're making a shit ton of money from esports in general.
yeah.
So it will
I
bite. Like you can enjoy the run
yeah.
temporarily, and that's why like the question with Hanwha Life right now is like they have the super roster now with Zeus, but how
Mhm.
much are you paying over the cap, and how long can you sustain that?
Yep,
Because eventually everybody else is going to catch up, and you will need to cut your funding because that luxury tax is going to start kicking your ass really bad.
yep. No, it will. I mean, it's it's a really cool idea. I mean, I guess they're in its early stages. I mean, nothing's gonna be perfect early. So I mean, that's probably the best they have for now. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're losing too many people to China lately. Korea hasn't been,
Just
and
pays.
China's going through its own problems. So yeah, and that was a weird one. I wonder why Pays wants to go to China
Because
so bad.
it sounds like so this is my favorite part about the salary cap negotiations is like the later you get into the season, the less cap you have available. And I mean, you know this from the NFL. It's like at a certain
Yeah,
point, your hands are tied. And for Pays, I'd imagine he's looking at all this being like, okay, Guma re-signed, uh, Ruler's already signed. These lower teams, like they know they're not going to win it, so they're not going to go above the cap and pay you $3 million and put themselves over in that luxury tax. So your options in the LCK have gone out the window. But now you can look at the LPL, who they have a salary cap, but at the same time, I doubt it's as low as the LCK is. So you can get that
oh yeah.
$3 million bag over in China.
No, I mean if that makes more sense. I thought China was putting in a salary cap as well.
They are, but I don't think it's as strict as the LCK's is, to my understanding.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like your timing of when you get into the off season and how you handle as well as how important your position is in terms of the cap,
Mm,
become massively influential. Like they become everything when trying to determine all this.
yep. Yeah, that's gonna make LCK a huge deal.
I
I
know,
mean,
that's why I love it.
yeah.
And salaries will be
The
public
debating
within
the
the next
cap
three
is gonna
years.
be so fun. Oh man. That's
Apparently,
gonna be
well,
nuts.
I don't know if it's within 3 years, but apparently, like once Faker retires, they become public. I don't know. I think it was
What?
Arnold. I think it was Arnold that hinted at it, or somebody else, like an insider, said it as well. That like
Why once Faker retires?
something about protecting his salary and protecting them. I don't know, but like it is set that it will eventually become public because it kind of has to with the salary
Okay.
cap. You can't just like you can't operate in the shadows. We all need to be able to know what you're dealing with in terms of cap space. Like that has to be public
Mhm.
information.
It's way
That's
more
when
fun for sports.
oh dude, it's so fun.
Yeah. I mean, it incentivizes rookies, like rookie building. Like a pays is like a dime a dozen with good salary caps and stuff. But I don't know what you do because esports is so different from major American sports. I mean, here it's like we have salary caps, but then also like they're because it's way different from soccer. Soccer has multi leagues like League of Legends does,
Yeah.
but there's no salaries, so everyone's just paying buku bucks. In American sports, it's like, hey, there's really only one league that's worth being in. For the NBA, it's the NBA, and for the NFL, it's the NFL. Like there ain't
Yep.
nothing else you're going to. You ain't going to Canada. You ain't going to wherever else. And they don't have to really worry about that, I guess. Like people taking somebody from another league. I wonder how that'll work out over there. Like it's gonna be really weird.
Tatara asks, is there a buyout in Korea? Buyouts are set by organizations at their own will. They have nothing to do with
Mhm.
your salary. It's just like, hey, if you want this player and you want to inherit their contract, you got to give me $600,000 because I'm under no obligation to give you them otherwise. So, like, a
Yeah.
buyout is not like it's completely separate. It's a different thing entirely. But yes, they still exist, obviously. But it's separate entirely from the salary cap. Same thing with like the money that T1 will earn from their skins that they've earned, that Faker's already skin, all that's separate from the cap. That has
Mhm.
nothing to do with like their salaries themselves.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. I mean, because the amount of just weird money that China's gonna put uh T or LCK into is gonna be just so strange. The way they're gonna have to work the cap. I'm sure they'll honestly, this is something that Riot should probably be doing leagues wide.
I mean, they
Like,
should, but they can't in North America.
yeah, I know. I was gonna say
The
I know
lack
it's
of
hard
collective
with the law.
bargaining and no
Yeah,
union.
hard with laws in all these countries. But this is something like it would take them years to probably figure it out in every single country. But it's low key so important for the health of the entirety of the ecosystem that
Yeah.
they should probably try to figure it out. Because if NA, and I'm not saying we do, but I mean, if there's ever a point where NA turns around and money starts flowing back in, like with us having no salary cap, we could go crazy, bro, if
Yep.
other people are stuck.
Yep. I mean, we don't have the money
Like we
for it,
could
so
go
luckily
screwed.
there's
Yeah,
that.
luckily it's not a problem right now, but you have to assume eventually the NA ecosystem figures it out, and if they do, like that would be nuts.
And notably, the LEC does have a salary cap.
Yep, I thought they
Implemented
did.
implemented last year, but it's just not talked about all that much. And that's I hate. I hate salary caps that are hidden because then it's like it's impossible for us to like tell on the outside. It's like
Hmm.
okay, was G2 paying like this past year with their like superstar roster and overpaying? How far over the cap were they? Like we have no clue. Is that the reason why they
Yep,
brought in two rookies? Who knows?
that's a good
Because
question.
that would drop them. That would realistically probably drop them under the cap pretty heavily.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you
what?
still have caps, you still have BB,
Mhm.
you still have Hansama. Hansama assumedly on a lesser deal than Caps and BB. Caps and BB are like your two superstars. But then you offset it with lower salaries with Skewmond and I can't remember who else is coming in. Labrov?
Yeah, which he's not a rookie really.
No,
He's
but you're also not going to pay him out the ass.
no, was it Lebrov? Yeah, it is Lebrov.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's probably not. I mean, he's probably taking a decent chunk. I wonder if they're just eating the luxury tax. I don't know what theirs would be.
I mean, it's still going to be lower than last year's. Like last year's
Mhm.
is going to be ridiculous. Especially, I don't know when they signed Yike on a longer deal or like a bigger deal, or I don't know if he was still on
Mhm.
his rookie deal. But Skewmon is definitely gonna be cheaper than Yike for sure. And then after that, I don't know. Hey Aries, thank you for the raid.
Nice.
But
I mean, that's just a lot. That's a lot for every league. I didn't know salary caps were going that hard right now. All I saw really was the Zeus drama, and then slight disappointment of 100 Thieves keeping Ayla with FBI.
yeah,
But
let's talk
I
about
mean,
the
I know
Zeus
that's just
thing.
part of it.
Let's talk about the Zeus thing first, though. Did
hmm
you think he was gonna stay or no?
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he was if he went bag chasing. I think that's fine. I also like from what it looked like at Worlds. I'm not saying like obviously can't read too deep into it, and he probably did love his time there, but it does look like there was a lot of pressure on them, and he never really was celebrating until the end of Worlds. And
Until
I
he cut his head
understand
open.
yeah, like I get people can say like, oh, he's just locked in, but there's also that sense of like you could hate the grind in some ways. Like the pressure your team has, all the things you know that are on there. And I get going to Hanwha and getting paid a bunch of money and still trying to win worlds isn't like the best way to dodge your responsibilities. But I highly doubt, and I think he realizes that going to Hanwha is much easier. And I doubt that he has to deal with the same amount of, just rabid fandom
Yeah.
coming after him. I mean, the dude is like playing as one of the best tops in the world, going against Bin and just absolutely neutralizing him for a 5-game series.
Yeah.
And people are still talking about how he was carried by Faker. He's not that good. His champ pool isn't deep enough.
I
He's
mean, I didn't
just
see that
okay.
narrative at Worlds though. Worlds very much felt like Ben was a big part of that. No, I mean he got yes, everybody got
Yeah,
carried by Faker in Game 4 and 5, obviously, but like
yeah.
I felt like Zeus was very
No,
much
I'm
like,
saying for Zeus, like people are now saying after he leaves T1, all of a sudden he wasn't that good the whole time, and he's about to get exposed on Hanwha. I've read a lot of that. Like,
what? Where the hell are people getting that?
yeah, they say it because he's not the best tank player in the world, but he's good at like everything else.
Yeah,
So people are just like, oh, because he's not great at tanks, he's clearly just not that good at the game, and this is gonna be where he gets exposed. But it's like,
they
I
realized
get it.
their top lane is going to be Doran, right?
Yeah, which I mean, Dorn also is a weird one who gets hate to me. It's so weird. League fans like legitimately, it's every sport. I mean,
Yeah,
even Josh only gets this kind of hate in the NFL. But you just sit there and you're like, dude, this guy is typically up there at the top echelon all year, and he's somehow really, really bad to you. Like, there's just no way he could be even half decent. It's like, brother, he legitimately is top 5 in his role all year. Like, just let it be. Doran has some bad Worlds performances, yes, but there's also so many things Doran does that is really good all year long.
I mean the problem with the LCK for whatever reason is like people will remember Worlds, and that's it. Like that's the end all be all. Which is
Yeah,
shocking that people would turn on Zeus because like he was the MVP of finals last year. And this
yeah,
year, yes, Faker understandably got it, but it's not like he was underperforming. So it's like I I get why people are discounting Doran. I do. Because like if you're gonna choke during Worlds, and realistically T1 fans care more about Worlds than literally anything else, given how many titles they've won, and given the trophies that they ultimately care about at this point, fine. But like it's not like he's bad. All the one narrative that I've seen from a lot of people, and I saw it in chat earlier as well, is like, do we think that Zeus left for his own legacy? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. I think you cement your legacy by winning 3 in a row at T1 and then going elsewhere. You need to do the thing that nobody else has done.
mhm,
Be a part of that and then go elsewhere and do it. Like in my
yeah,
mind, that's like sure maybe that you could have like this feeling of like individual sense of like I need to prove myself. It's like okay, but you can prove yourself after you put something on your resume that is that nobody else is going to ever achieve, to our knowledge.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the odds of anybody going back to back already slim enough. Like it's only
Mhm.
T1, let alone the fact that you stood a legitimate chance of going 3 in a row because for whatever reason you show up to Worlds, your team gets hot every time,
Mhm.
and it works. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a. I personally don't think it's a valid reason when people are like, oh, he's doing it for his legacy. I think if you care about your legacy, you would have stayed.
Yeah, for 3 in a row. I think it's definitely like either way you could say it's fine for his legacy to me. Like in the sense of if he stays and they do three-peat, that obviously puts him in just goated roster, like even further goated roster tier. But this way isn't really that bad for his legacy either. I mean, if he goes over there and they do end up stopping T1 later this year, like then it looks perfect. I mean, people are gonna scapegoat Doran for this, but
Yep.
like I think that would be so silly because I mean going to Worlds Finals 4 times in a row
Yeah.
is gonna be absurdly hard.
Yep.
Like no matter who you have. And winning it 3 times in a row has never been done for a reason.
Yep.
Like it's very hard. I mean nobody wins 3 in a row in like anything. I can't think of any sport where people
No.
have won 3 in a row in a long time. It's been so long.
Like,
Probably since the Bulls.
yeah, it had to be the Bulls. Yeah, had to be
And they did it twice. That's why he's considered the GOAT.
Max Verstappen.
Nobody
Yeah.
watches F1, brother.
I mean,
Whatever.
more and more people are starting to, but like
Yeah.
it's not. It's not the same. Like
That's a
to be fair,
game for rich people's
individual
sons.
sports completely different than team sports. That's the thing I will say because technically Tiger, like if you're talking about that, then Tiger Woods' Grand Slam is up there in terms of
Yeah.
the all-time historic achievements, and it is. But it is much harder to get 5 people or an entire team to do something repeatedly over the course of a year than it is for you yourself as an individual to maintain that form. You're asking 5 people to be at that peak instead of 1.
Yeah.
So they are
Okay,
inherently
like
different.
I get what he's saying. F1's not individual, but it's like golf isn't, right? There's a caddy. We get that.
Yep.
But it is and it isn't.
There's one
Like,
person doing the driving. I get there's a pit crew and there's
yeah.
other people involved. There's one person in golf
There's the
hitting the shot.
engineering team, yes. But yes, we understand the people who make the car,
Yep.
but there's one guy doing all the work at the end of the day who has to execute
Yeah.
perfectly. Like, that's kind of the
It's
main point. But I understand F1
yeah.
people
We're not
love
trying
the
to
team side.
discount like that point
Yes.
of it, but
Well,
like,
I am discounting F1. I don't like it. I will discount it publicly.
you go right ahead. You piss off the Europeans. You have fun doing that, and the Saudi Arabians because they have their fingerprints all over it as well.
People getting it because what their dad is rich. That's basically all of F1.
Oh man.
Wait,
Aries,
did it happen?
You don't need all what?
It's fine. Somebody said rip 76ers, and the Pacers are the odds-on betting favorite to get Joel Embiid right now. And I thought we just got Joel Embiid
Jesus.
when they said that.
Has
bro,
he left
if
it
Joel
all?
Embiid, he's about to. Yeah.
Okay. But no team has been announced yet.
Well, yeah, no team, and he hasn't been traded.
Okay.
But like, let's be real. They just had a team meeting where they called him out and were basically like, you need to step up, bro. So he's about out the door. But my bad. Oh, that's off topic.
No, you're good.
Zeus is basically Joel Embiid right now. Except instead of losing a bunch, Zeus just went, bro, I'm giving me a bag. Good luck to all y'all. I don't care about this anymore.
He's doing the reverse KD. It's like I was with these fuckers the entire time. About to do this shit on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And T1's gonna win it all, and it's gonna be fucking hilarious. I think honestly the ultimate timeline would be Hama Life versus T1 in finals at Worlds.
I mean,
maybe not finals, but like semis at minimum. I think semis would be the.
I want to see. I really do want to see Genji look good at some
Internationally.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I do wonder where Pays goes in China. That's gonna be a big deal to me.
I thought I saw. Um, I don't know. Oh, JDG. Yeah, that's what
Then
people are
that's
saying.
over. Well, that's done.
What?
They suck. They do. That's over. That's fine. Whatever. His career's done. That sucks. He's dead to me.
He could literally come back next year. He'll be fine.
I mean, gonna keep it real, people. I think he's done. Who did they end up actually fixing their roster?
Who? JDG? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't follow the LPL. It's the one region that I just don't have time for, other than like the news that Rare Atom is dropping their or sold their spot to Riot.
Did they really?
Yeah. LPL is down to
Oh.
16 teams now. Which, by the way, much better number than 17 teams in a freaking league. But, you know. What do I know?
I'm running through LPL. There's just so many teams. That's hilarious. Rare Atom, and it's just everybody crossed out.
Yep.
God. Wait, are they just not gonna fill the slot?
No. They're just gonna
They're just downsizing
Yeah.
a team?
Yeah. They're pulling an LCS.
Oh.
Downsizing.
That's strange. JD Gaming, and they have Chovy with an asterisk.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the
that didn't
Chovy
happen.
Yeah, this seems a little
Wrong.
a little off.
Chovy and Ruler are on 3-year deals with Gen.G.
Yep. Which that'll be interesting. Honestly, if you watched last year, bro, Ruler's hands are still there.
Dude, they're still. Oh, believe
They're
me, I
still
know. They're still good.
very good.
I think
he's still got it.
LCK top 3 is going to be fascinating.
I have no idea who the heck Duro is, but if he screws this up for us and he wastes Ruler, it's so doomed, brother. He better be the Biofrost of whatever it is LCK supports, because we need something good for once. That isn't just Faker winning, please.
I guess here's my question. If Chovy doesn't win it in the next 3 years, what do you do? Like, how is his legacy impacted?
I mean, he's just always gonna be one of those really good, really great tops that never, or really great mids, my bad, that never was, I guess. I think it definitely makes it really hard to put him in the Hall of Legends.
Yeah.
I mean, it would take a while. You'd have to get through quite a few people.
You'd have to get through everybody on the Zeus owner Faker, Kuma carry a
Yeah.
T1 roster before you've got the freaking Chovy.
Yeah. I mean, because he would be tough. What else would it be? I'm trying to think. Uzi's the only one I can think of who had the impact enough, who probably right now is going to get in, even without a Worlds.
Yep.
He had enough impact. I think he could do it. Him or Clearlove? Clearlove's another one. I think, like, when we're talking Chinese money.
Yeah.
Like, who, without a Worlds. Knight, does Knight have a Worlds?
I don't think so, because who was the mid?
No, because a LPL or a Chinese mid laner's never won Worlds, right?
I don't believe so. No,
It's only been Koreans.
Who is EDG's mid when they won in 2021 over Showmaker?
One of the rookie or scout.
Scout, okay. And then obviously it was Doing B in 2019, and then who was 2018 with Invictus Gaming? Was that Scout? No. Was it? Who was 2019 IG's mid laner?
It wasn't Scout. It was Rookie.
Rookie, okay.
Yeah.
And that was it. That's the only three worlds that China's ever won. So
Oh
say
yeah, somebody said Showmaker would be ahead. I mean, Showmaker would be.
dude,
You'd have
the
to keep
Showmaker
Showmaker
Syndra
above him.
skin would go so hard.
Yeah,
So hard. Oh,
yeah, you'd have to keep Showmaker above him. I mean, because right now, Chovy is just a better version of who's the KT mid? BDD, right?
yeah.
Yeah, he's just a better version of BDD. I mean, that's about it. He's not like, well, he has an MSI, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't think people weight MSI high enough, if we're
No.
being honest. They just don't.
No.
Can't really use that. I mean, Uzi has a MSI, and I don't think
Is it
people
Uzi
care.
or Uzi I?
I always thought it was Uzi. Do people call him Uzi I?
I saw Emily Rand and a few others say Uzi I, and I wasn't sure whether that's like the actual pronunciation of it and like whether we just Americanized it or
I don't got the effort to call him Uzi I. He's Uzi to me. This is America, land of the free, home of the brave, Second Amendment, baby. Uzi.
Jesus Christ.
That's what he's getting.
Oh man. Is there anything else that I'm missing from LCK LPL before we swap it over to NA?
Uh, no. Well, I will shout out Khan. Khan was a little. He was really telling people, LPL's not doing too well. We were all kind of being like, shut up, Khan, whatever. You're always negative. Shut up. And now LPL is just like, we lost the team, and we're just gonna leave that. So that's good. And they got rid of the English broadcast. I mean, there's a lot of things over there. They're downsizing,
I get
and I was like, maybe Khan was on something.
Cubby made a point on Hotline League that he said co-streamers should be charged $2,500 for broadcast rights for
Heard
like
this.
the LPL and LCK.
No,
There's no fucking way. You don't make
I
like
will. No,
Dom and Cadril might make enough money to be able to do that. I can promise you no upcoming creators could in the esports space.
no. And once you do that, while live viewing would still be a thing, so that's fine. But the whole idea of co-streaming isn't to try to. I feel like take as much money as you can from the co-streamers. It's to let them make their money in peace, so you can keep making the broadcasts smaller and smaller. That's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
So I get why people want the co-streamers to pay, right? Because they want to keep those official broadcasts alive. But I hate to say, if you're in that space, I don't hate to say it because I'm just gonna say it.
Do it.
If you're in that space, you should definitely be like looking at all options because they're trying to downsize that space for co-streaming. It's much cheaper for them. If they can just have a guy run a camera while people co-stream, they would do it if they only had to pay like 2 people.
Yep.
It would make them so happy.
Yep.
Like that's all they're going to try to do is make it as cheap as possible on their end.
You'll have the main broadcast for international events for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, like that's never going away. There's too much formality that kind of goes into it. I mean, the rates might drop of talent there, but like they're never going away in that sense. But yeah, the regional leagues, especially like non-native language streams for those leagues,
Yep.
that shit gets tough. But like the LEC broadcast is obviously never going away. The LCS broadcast isn't going away. Might downsize. That's
Yeah.
for sure. The LCK English cast, I don't think that's going to go away. I think Riot is smart enough to know that like that provides a lot of value and like the actual main English stream has like enough viewers to sustain itself, or at least if assuming they monetize it at some point. But
Yeah, it might also just make money. I mean, simply making money is really all you have to do to keep your broadcast around. I know that like me saying simply that isn't so simple for everybody, but if you're not making money, you shouldn't be sitting here going, what the heck? How did they get rid of us? Paying us full-time jobs to stream to 3,000 people? This just doesn't make sense. It's like, yeah, bro, it's a 3,000 person stream. Like, that brand, while I get people can say is important for building fandom into that, is just not enough for this stage of esports.
Which streamer are you referencing that has 3,000 viewers?
LPL was hitting like 7K on good games, 3K on bad games
On what, Twitch
sometimes.
or YouTube? Or both?
YouTube for me.
Okay.
I always
I'd
watch
be
it on
curious to
YouTube.
know what Twitch numbers got. Because if it's 7K on YouTube, typically Twitch, it's gonna be like double or triple that for domestic or
Yeah,
for normal weeks. So they're
I
probably
mean they're
looking,
not if they're getting that little, they're not running it that often,
yeah.
or they're gonna start downsizing it.
I mean, obviously it sucks for like the talent pipeline that comes up there, obviously.
Hmm.
But like, uh, I don't know. It's tough because like I inherently think co-streams are better when there is a main broadcast feed that you're going off of. I think that should always exist. Personally, I get why. Like this is a warning that we've had for years as co-streaming has risen. Is like eventually you are kind of weeding things out. I get it deteriorates the co-stream a little bit for sure, especially for the LPL. Like I'm gonna be
Hmm.
curious to see how Dom and Cadrill's co-streams look without casters. I mean, maybe they look. What could end up happening, and I don't know if people want to acknowledge this or not, is like, oh, you know, people are saying that we need the caster moment, we need the hype. Well, I mean, assuming that you just put it on as like white noise in the background, why can't you have the Chinese or like the Mandarin cast on there?
Yep. No, yeah, I that is true, and
Not saying
I'm
it's the
not
best
like,
solution.
yeah, and I'm not like trying to just say like, oh man, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying if your viewership isn't that high, it is kind of is what it is. And then also, while I do understand they can't crush hype without having people yell, uh, I just don't think they're that worried about it. If the hype wasn't bringing enough people in to be financially solvent, then they're gonna try to get rid of it at this point.
I'll Aries, if you want to come up, I'll briefly let you in. Just do me a favor, keep your camera off because I'm gonna hide it so that it doesn't mess up the stream here. Because I'm curious to see what you want to defend on the LPL because I don't think there's anything to defend. Like I think we're all on the same page on this, which is like obviously we would prefer if there was an English broadcast, but at the same time, given Riot's decision making, it was pretty cut and dry why they would get rid of it to me.
Yeah, and my rebuttal to the replays one is that nobody watches Riot replays.
No, it's
The
low event
replay channels
VODs.
are not by them, so they're not getting any of that.
Yeah.
Like that income doesn't go to them. And also that would just be another person if they did start going to them, and let's say that they like have to pay an extra person to do that. You're talking about a whole nother person's salary for that one position, and I don't see that becoming a financially or a thing they're looking at financially to do,
I
to
mean,
be honest.
I'm sure we'll
They
have to
might.
finish this
They might.
point after Aries comes in, but the thing that I've never understood about this is how people didn't, at least the co-streamers, the casters, etc., all
Mhm.
that. Like I know a lot of time goes into your craft and like trying to become the best caster and best color commentator possible, but you got to build a brand. And I don't think any of them have like done the most effective job of building a brand. Some of them are known throughout the league community, sure, but
Mhm.
like it's not enough. It's not enough that like once you removed yourself from the broadcast, that it would be enough for them to like land other gigs and do other things based on the brand that you were able to build. I'm gonna bring Aries in.
Okay, that was and Aries, you're being pretty kind with that almost 300k subs. It's 240.
Okay, sorry, 250. My apologies, my apologies. I
Yeah,
just looked at it, saw that it was like
that's
I
fair
got the
enough.
higher end. You're right. I was being generous. I was being generous.
But I was also being
My
tough with
point
the
on
3K.
okay, yeah. Um, my point with the LPL in general
Mhm.
is that because of its timing, I think it's incredibly unfair because it doesn't work for Europeans and it doesn't work for NA as well, right? So people
Yeah.
purposely stay up until that time to watch the LPL. It's a little
Mhm.
different from like a lot of people who, might keep LCS in the background or keep the LEC in the background. People who were watching the LPL really pay attention to the LPL and they're staying up till 3 a.m., 5 a.m., 8 a.m. to watch these broadcasts,
Sure.
right? I mean,
Mhm.
like for 8 a.m. and you can wake up really early. Um, but my point being is that it feels really weird to broadcast at a time that doesn't work for your core audience and then be like, why aren't we getting viewership? When an alternative would be like, okay, maybe we broadcast over a replay at a different
But
time.
that doesn't work for
Yeah,
a live
people aren't.
sporting event. That will never work for live sports ever.
Mhm. I mean, that's true. It's gonna be more difficult, but you could also just like post the replays on the LPL account, as I mentioned in the chat.
I mean, that you
Yeah.
could, sure, that I agree you could do, but you're also
Yeah.
like Riot has clearly set up the ecosystem to the point where they have made it clear they don't want to establish VOD control and they don't want to work around that. So, like
Okay.
Which is
it
strange.
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. It
it's
is a
strange.
stubborn point, right?
It's
Yeah.
the like I see where you're coming from. I agree. It's at a shit time for Western viewers to watch, and I agree.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But the truth is,
Yeah.
we have to make like we're at a point where sustainability is like the focus for everybody, and if we can't come up with a
Right.
sustainable solution, they are just going to they're just going to go with the easy answer, which saves a little bit of
Right.
money.
Right. The thing is that a lot of these co-streamers for the LPL kind of already do the games that aren't being showed on stream, right? Like Nymera, for example, he will go and grab those broadcasts in Chinese and cast over it and post it on his YouTube. I don't know how well his YouTube does, but I do
I'm
know
about
he
to
does
check
that.
right now because that's what I wanted to see
Okay.
his numbers. But keep talking.
And like that's his own account, right?
Yeah.
It's not his own thing. And also, I know, like, time and time again, we see a big call for a lot of these LPL casters to be actually taken to Worlds because they do such a good job within the LPL, and they also
Yeah.
know the narratives and the stories of a lot of these players. And honestly, when I watch Worlds, it does feel like that's missing, right? Like, for me, a really big thing about BLG at this Worlds was that Jun was benched. Right? People completely doubted his ability. He went from being second in the LPL last split to people even doubting if he should be on BLG, and then he came back
Mm.
in and he fixed a lot of their problems. That was not highlighted at Worlds,
Yep.
which is big, right? Because if you're a player that's been doubted and being told that you should be kicked off the roster, you come in and you fix that team's problems. A team that was going to be out during Swiss stage, a favorite that was supposed to be out during Swiss stage, and a player that was doubted the entire year comes in and fixes their problems. That is massive storytelling that was completely left out of Worlds in favor of other narratives, which, of course, while they are important, didn't actually play out as big as something like Jun's story.
Yeah. No, and
I
I
just
know I took a big
checked.
dump on him.
I just checked Nymera's viewership on YouTube.
Mhm.
It VODs ain't all that pretty. I can't imagine he's making more. If he's making a grand a month at most,
Mhm.
like that'd be impressive. Now his shorts are starting to
Right.
take off, which is good. I'm not sure how often he's
Mhm.
posting shorts, but at a minimum, he's at least
Right.
trying something there. And even then, his
Mhm.
last short was three
Right. But
weeks
like
ago.
also.
He's not consistent enough with it to be caught up in the algorithm.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I agree. I agree. But like the fact is that these casters do clearly care for it. I mean, I'm gonna
Oh,
pull
they
up
do.
Yamada because I know Yamada does
Mhm.
is a lot more consistent.
They do, but like
He almost exclusively posts shorts.
they, it's tough now because
And
like
it's a big thing is we're not taking a dump on him because
no,
we've had
No, of course not. Of course
who'd
not.
you have on this from LPL broadcast? I can't remember
oh
when you did
Mazel,
Worlds. Yep.
Mazel.
It
I've
was
talked to him a
Mhm.
few times.
and they are like I think what they do is like dang near insane work. I mean, because I watched a ton of LPL last year when I was doing nights work, and it just sucks because the viewership, even when I was working last year, I knew the viewership was like not gonna last.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew it. With the way
Yeah.
budget cuts were starting to come, there's just no way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it was really hard to like obviously see a future for the broadcast. It is a little like it is a little weird to because I know a lot of these when these guys are broadcasting, they're broadcasting from their homes, right? They're not going out to the LPL studio or anything like that.
Mhm.
They have no official workspace, right? They pretty much just go to their laptop and then they stream from there.
Yeah.
Very similar to a co-streamer, might I add. But it was just kind of with the additional platform of being on the LPL broadcast.
No, I
right?
I obviously wish that was still a thing. I do. Like I wish
Uh-huh.
I wish Riot would suck it up and just say, okay, what's the minimum amount that we need to make? Can we find a way to do this? Like, and I highly doubt those conversations happened. I can almost guarantee it was Riot just unilaterally telling people like, hey, we're not gonna try and find a way. We're just gonna. It is what it is. They never really gave
a lot of
anybody
the
a chance to fight
LPL
for it.
broadcast was caught by surprise.
Yeah, so it's like I
agree.
But like now going forward, like the truth is, this is the reality that we're in, and I don't know how they're gonna do it. It's too late to really start developing your brand. Like, I mean, it's not too late. It's never too late, obviously. But like everything that I've seen from them,
Yeah, I don't think it's too late for the LPL.
It's not too late for the LPL, but I'm saying the individual people that were involved with the broadcast. Okay. From what I've gathered, everybody but Dom, LS, Kadril, and the co-streamers and Shocks and Lore. Laura would be the one that I would also add in there. I don't think anybody truly understands what it takes to like push the social game nowadays for content. That includes LCS, that includes LEC, that includes LCK and LPL. That's all of them. I don't think people truly get what you need to do to be able to make a name for yourself. And by all means, if you're fine with the career that you got now, and the pathway that you got, fine. But like when I'm looking at the NACL casters, I'll use them as an example because I know Mazel crosses over into that threshold. There is no reason why you should not have like highlight reels of you casting for one short a day and then a story that you want to talk about, since your job as you want it to be is telling the stories of these players. You should be able to do that in 1 minute segments and put it out like it's nothing. And I say that because I fucking do it like it's nothing. And I'm telling, like, it's so easy to do, especially when they have an entire career of doing it themselves. No reason why you can't.
Yeah. The other thing, though, I agree with you fully that I think the broadcasters don't do enough on a personal level, right? They just go up there on the LPL broadcast and then they kind of hope that will carry them forward. I know a couple obviously do a little bit more than that, right? They'll cast over games that don't get aired. And then the other thing, though, was that the LPL does actually play a strong social media game. Their TikTok is really well done.
Yep.
Their shorts do absolutely amazing.
They're the best.
I don't think that there's a lack of. They're absolutely the best. I think they absolutely destroy every other league when it comes to the socials game, and it's just, to me, it's really weird that we're choosing to cut out the broadcast, especially because that broadcast is featured in the shorts. The broadcast is like they use the English broadcast for the LPL TikTok, and they use it for the YouTube shorts as well.
Yeah, but I think they're at a point where they can just use the Chinese version as well, and it will just like, to an American audience, you might not fully understand what's going on there, but they can cut it in ways that it just sounds like an anime and people will buy into it. 1000%. I bet my life savings on that. Their social media managers clearly are smart enough, like, given that they knew what they were doing in the first place, they will know what to do this time around as well.
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna sound crazy considering that the LPL is probably one of the more successful leagues out there, but what's the next step to actually delivering these stories of these Chinese players? Because they're obviously dominant enough at Worlds that they should be put on a spotlight, right? Like we're seeing last year, it was all the LPL versus T1, and T1 was the one getting the narrative. Which I mean, like the thing is, if the Chinese teams wins, what's your narrative there, right? If BLG won this split, what's your narrative there? You didn't build it up at all, right? Like to be honest, I think that, and I'm not saying that T1's lucky. I'm saying that LoL esports have been very, very lucky that T1 has been the one winning worlds, because if it was any other team,
No, I think BLG.
it's not looking as good.
BLG 100% had people talking about them this year. Had it been BLG that won,
Yeah.
I think they would have been fine. No.
Well, the only story that was built up was Bin, and that was because Bin won when he was on RNG. They haven't built anything up since that 2018-2019 era.
Okay, but let me ask you this: why? I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm asking you why has that been the case?
I think that a part of it is that I believe they suffered during the COVID era. They had, I believe it was 2020, they were not looking good at all, both in like domestic viewership and 2021. I could be wrong on that, on 2021.
For LCK?
I'm gonna give it a look because I don't want to.
No, you're fine.
No, for LPL. I just want to look. I don't want to like talk out of my ass here.
Well, I'll just give my thought on this, and I want Paul to chime in as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Okay.
in terms of English-speaking people, okay, because that's where the English broadcast is focusing their narrative and talking from. The LPL, the crowd of people that care about the LPL, other than them being the antagonists to the LCK, is pebbles compared to those that care about the LCK, the LEC, and the LCS.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally,
I agree.
I'm not saying the story shouldn't be told, but it's understandable why the narratives will always skew towards the other three versus the one, given that the local native languages will automatically tell their story better. That's not saying it's fair to a certain extent, but people are going to talk about what they care about.
Right. I'm just looking because even 2020, they actually didn't do too bad. Suning had a really big underdog run up until finals.
They've had a team in finals every year.
And then even, yeah, they have.
Except for 2022. 2022 was the only year that they didn't. But 2021, it was EDG over over what's it fucking Dom Kia at the time. Last year Weibo, this year BLG. 2020 Dam won 3-0. I forget who they 3-0'd in finals. But
well, honestly, it's not. For LPL, it's not the storylines that were killing them. It was just their broadcast slowly dying. And then even those stories from those players, for some reason, Riot has decided that it doesn't really matter, or they can continue to move on without it. They're all in on Faker, and instead of like trying to build other areas, they're just sticking with that, which I mean is working for them right now. And maybe it'll be something they try to get out of later on, but honestly, I don't think they're worried about it. I think they're just letting it be, and then they're hoping that somehow a co-streamer will pop up on LPL and fix it, which isn't like a great solution for people who like the LPL broadcast, but it's Riot's solution.
Yeah.
Right. Quick question. Just out of my own curiosity, what are the requirements to be a co-streamer? Because I know that we have
LPP.
I know of like Casual, Dom, Ibai.
And so for North America, you have to be LPP. LEC, it's only approved individuals, which all of the approved individuals are LPP, or you have to be part of a team. Teams can designate one individual person. For the LCK, it is purely a committee that selects who they want to co-stream there. And from the LPL, given that the standards are changing, we don't know. So impossible to say this upcoming year when all this is happening who will be allowed and who won't be. We will not know until the list is given out or the steps are provided as to how to apply for co-streaming. So we don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at the eligibility. Yeah, to be honest, I do believe that there can actually be a new LPL co-streamer. I think that there's a really good possibility for it.
what I really want to see though, and what I think solves a lot of the problem for this is like Riot needs to make it very clear that like even though they're just going to rely on co-streamers and content creators to carry the LPL English side, you need to make sure there is somebody that can represent them well on broadcast still. And I know they probably don't want, when I say broadcast, I mean international broadcast. It can't just be, I know it's not going to be a caster. That's fine. I'm not asking for an LPL caster. What I am asking for is an analyst. You can get Dom or Cadril or somebody else like that on the broadcast if you truly wanted to, if you wanted to pay enough. They make enough on their own money that you don't have to worry about. So I don't think it will ever be Cadril. But like a Dom or like a Nymera, you can get them on the broadcast to then talk about these teams and give the narratives and give the spotlight at these international events. It's just a matter of whether they want to pay them and have and realistically, they should be cheaper now that they're not on the LPL broadcast. You can demand lower amounts of money for them. So there should be no reason why Riot has a shortage of LPL color commentary that can be added come international events. So that we just have to wait and see what Riot does.
I would prefer that.
Because if that happens, I don't think the Western audience like. It sucks that there's obviously no English broadcast for it, but like come international events, if their stories are getting told, then what's the issue?
Yeah, I don't think there would be any issue if their stories are getting told at the international events, because like that is when the most eyes are on Chinese teams, right? And as of right now, their teams almost feel sorry, I'm trying to think of the right word for this, but I think like it's almost reductive to like be like, oh, they're just LPL, right? And then leave these players' stories just like that, right? JDG was a super team, right? They were so close to the Golden Road, aside from one best of 5, and even then, really the only marketing that we remember out of that Golden Road was that T1 versus JDG cinematic, right? All roads lead to me, which banger line.
Heavily disagree.
Really?
I remember Golden Road conversations. The second they won MSI, Golden Road conversations began. And they were mentioned everywhere. Coming into the tournament,
a lot of that was community-based.
But that's the majority of the conversation. Like the only other time that you're going to get conversation around JDG and the Golden Road is whenever you get back to Worlds, of which there was a bunch of conversation about the Golden Road. Like the initial opening teaser of the entire thing had JDG next to last before Faker did like the lifting up of the crown thing. The whole segment prior to that was about how JDG is coming into the tournament on the Golden Road. But there's one final stop in trying to get there, and that's Faker at Worlds. That's a fair narrative, is it not? And that was discussed that was discussed before the tournament even began. So that's where I don't disagree. That's where I disagree is like the only thing that people remember is like, no, I think that's being selective memory of what you choose to remember, but there was a bunch of conversation around it.
Right. Yeah, no, okay, I hear you. Sorry. What I meant to like say, obviously I said something else, right? And like you fairly addressed that. I want to make that very clear. Is that like the players' personal like experiences, right? Like being the first Chinese mid to win Worlds, and like the players' personal experiences as JDG players was not something that was addressed, right? Whereas with obviously Faker's an entirely different story, but there was a big highlight on like what Gumayushi's doing, what is Carrier gonna pick? Like it was a lot of heavy emphasis on the individual players on LCK teams, whereas with LPL it was just JDG itself. Does that make any sense?
I hope I'm all LCK teams, or was it T1?
It was. I believe it was like that for Gen G as well.
I would say Chovy,
right? But
I don't know if I'd give it to all of Gen G.
I'd also give it to Doran, but then again, like, because Doran is a world champion, he does have some weight under his name.
Doran's not a world
Pays
champion,
being a rookie at the time. I believe he is.
There's no way that Doran's a world champion. With all the memes that I've seen, there's no possible way that Doran is a world champion.
I don't think he is.
Yes. Oh wait, sorry. No, sorry. He came pretty close in 2022. My apologies.
He hasn't yet.
That is on me. But he won the LPL quite often. I mean, LCK. He's won the LCK quite often.
Yeah, no, and I agree with your point that more individual players' stories could be told. I'm just thinking of this. I'm not trying to sound like a Riot shill or Riot apologist. I'm thinking you have a certain amount of
Yeah,
time
okay.
on broadcast and a certain amount of airtime to tell a limited amount of stories. And ultimately, you want to tell the stories that people care about the most. And I think ultimately, people care about Korean, North American, and European stories more than they care about the Chinese stories. That doesn't mean that they don't deserve to be said at points, but I think it's understandable, personally, why they're talked about in lower amounts. Because the majority of the fandom for Chinese teams and Chinese players and their stories will remain with the native broadcast for Mandarin speaking fans.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can agree with that. Right. Like with obviously Mandarin having their own broadcast, it could be almost an entirely different narrative there, right? Where
Yeah,
NA
we
stories
never,
don't get told,
yeah,
and
we never know. We will never know because we can't understand.
yeah, 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 exactly. I mean, like I will say the only thing I wish out of Riot is that they make an accessible way to watch the LPL now, even if it is just in the Mandarin broadcast or anything like that. Because as of right now, I believe there's a really convoluted way to go into Weibo and watch it.
They won't.
That is on a
I
couple
think
Twitter pages.
I would say just expect
I mean, the LPL.
those streamers
Well,
to be your easiest way.
there's a stream on YouTube for the native language of the LPL. I've clicked into it a few times accidentally and realized that I could not understand
Oh,
a
there
word.
is.
Yeah, so you can just go on YouTube and watch it still.
I mean, if I
Which even
is
if they keep doing that, I would say it's unfortunate the way they played it, but I don't think it's surprising. And I think from it doesn't make sense to our perspective, but it's very consistent and makes sense to what they've been doing for the full year. I mean, it is unfortunate because they came out and they said 2025 is going to be the biggest year of League of Legends ever, and then they're like, yeah, we meant League of Legends. LoL Esports was not in that, buddy. And they've come out here and
yeah,
they have
no,
just
for
been
sure.
like, cut this, layoffs, and then we
Yeah,
were like, okay, some of the broadcasts have gone downhill a bit because of layoffs, but they're starting to
that we put
find their
in.
groove. Yeah, they found their groove again. Worlds looked good. Then all of a sudden they went, we're really sorry here, but this opportunity's too sick to pass up. We've gotten rid of the whole LPL broadcast for co-streaming, and it's really cool. And everybody went, that's just you getting rid of it. And they were like, no, it's pretty cool opportunity we've given you all to go watch it somewhere else. Now go that way.
they've given the fans the opportunity
Yeah.
to cast themselves.
Yeah. I mean, because they worded it that way, didn't they?
Yeah, it
Wasn't it
did.
something
It
along
Yeah,
the
was
lines?
pretty much. Yeah,
it
We're
was
they made
so
it
excited
shitty.
for this
like
new thing.
It's like it's so tone deaf.
I'm
They're
gonna pull up
And
the tweet because it was something.
yeah, and it's kind of, I mean, it sucks because I personally like the LPL broadcasts, and I think they are really good. And I think not enough people understand a league that's important to League of Legends. They just don't know what's going on there.
Mhm.
yeah.
But it's also one of those things where we're at this stage where it's kind of just over. They've decided that LCK is the most important region for them to push to everybody, regardless of if we agree or not, and that's just gonna be the one. It makes the most money. It gets like 180K viewers on YouTube at night
Yep.
in the middle of the night. I mean, they're cool with that. And
And then we have our
the
own leagues
English
to worry about.
broadcast does great. Yep.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the
And
day,
there's
like
Levy.
we're
Yeah.
we are spending a lot of time on the LPL and LCK. You know what we haven't really touched on in an hour and 15 minutes? Our own region.
Yeah.
Like that to me is like as much as I want to care about the LPL, and by all means I'm glad they're like the people that are involved with the product and all that are continuing the conversation and keeping it in the spotlight, fine. I've got bigger fish to fry on my side. I've got bigger things to do over here, which I have to pay attention to what's happening with the LPL because that could eventually happen in North America, obviously. But it's not like I'm
Right.
going to sit here and worry about taking action on it for me. There's nothing I could do.
Yep. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But
Do you want me to leave the live stream?
well, that's what I was gonna ask. Anything you want to say on here before Paul and I swap over to some North America stuff?
Uh, no, nothing else on the LPL.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
I'm pretty much done my LPL
I
spiel.
appreciate you coming in to defend the LPL's honor, brother. As it's always nice to have a
I
counterweight.
have to. I have to. All right. You guys have a good rest of your night.
You too, man.
Bye.
Well, that went a little bit longer than I was expecting, but
I mean, it's going to. He was doing a great job defending it and trying to get people to hear the other stories. It does suck for him that I think a lot of the stories are not going to be heard, sadly.
yeah, Aries, you're fine.
Feel bad.
Don't worry about it.
I mean, he made me feel a lot different about it than before he
he's
came
got
in.
look, he's got a valid point. It's
Yeah.
just one of those, there's only two things that we have finite amounts of resources in, and that is time and money. And
Yeah.
they're making this choice. I'm not saying obviously we all know, we all have a common sense assumption that the ecosystem would be better with it. But
Yeah. And I mean, you can kind of feel Riot is in this position right now where they're thinking, you know, we really want people to watch their home region maybe.
yeah.
And if they're trying to do that, then they're going to slowly kill ways to watch other regions.
Yeah.
If they want you to focus on your own. Now they can't kill it for LEC and LTA.
No.
My bad.
You can't.
But they can kill it for the other two. LCK they're gonna leave though because Faker makes them so much money.
I did note something though, or did notice something. There's no English stream for the LTA South.
Really?
There will be no, unless somebody co-streams, which could happen, but I don't know what time their games are going to be on. There will be no English broadcast of it.
Strange.
So there's that.
Well, I mean, as far as LTA goes, there's like kind of a little bit to talk about.
I
Not
know,
really.
right?
Like there's some stuff. There's still some more finalizing I want to see, but who do we have full rosters of now? We have 100
FlyQuest and
Thieves,
TL, 100
TL,
Thieves,
yeah,
C9,
Fly.
Shopify, Lion, I think is finalized.
Yeah,
Lions.
Lions.
It is
pretty much
just
finalized.
DSG and Dig, who
We lost Berserker, which I hated.
hated, but I mean I'm excited to see him in the LCK.
Yeah.
Except for we knew from the jump it didn't make sense for him to go to any of the lower teams. He's not going to go to Shopify. That was a given. He's not going to go to DSG, especially when he has offers from the LCK. Why would he not take those?
Yep.
So
It's tough. I think it sucks because we basically developed that talent. That's why it sucks to me.
I mean, well, I don't know if it. We helped spotlight him. I don't know if we can say we developed that talent.
Well, I mean, we took him from a lower team and made him a pro. Like a legitimate pro. A tier 1 pro. You don't agree? Shoot. One
I
second.
don't know. Do you get the
Riff.
Okay. I will save my riff for what I was gonna say whenever he comes back, but I will talk about. I was really impressed today by the amount of content the teams were willing to put out. So Team Liquid put out their video announcing that the entire roster is back. 100 Thieves does the amazing painting, the Warhammer style thing with Doc Respawn. Was really happy about that. Like I think that was one of the most well done like announcement videos that we've had for an individual player on a team like that in a long time. It was really creative and really fun. Shout out to Danny for that one. It was fantastic. Said she was inspired by Toy Story 2 and then just wanting to do something a little bit different. But then FlyQuest remixing TL's video, appreciated. It was a nice touch. But I just want to say, for all of the orgs, this goes out to all of them, and I said this in a TikTok video earlier today, you better be putting out consistent content over this break. We have 2 months, all right, And the last time that we had a schedule change, okay, so many people didn't know that they had to repeat it on broadcast so freaking much. It's like, well, yeah, because you spent the entire 2 months prior to that not saying shit. And then we come into January and it's like, oh, hey, we're back. It's like, no, you should be pounding into people's heads for months prior that we're coming back. Everybody knows that the LTA is going to start on January 25th now. Like, we know that for a fact. We're 2 months and 5 days away. Every single team, every single player should be putting out content, putting out as much as they can, and saying, "Hey, 25th, we'll be there." But like, introduce yourselves, like, start to get out there, do the things that Call of Duty is doing right now with like streaming ranked play, players playing in smaller tournaments, playing some pro-ams, do something, get your name out there, say like, "Hey, I'm X player for X team." You gotta do something. At minimum, every single team in the LCS better have at least one video out on their YouTube channel every single week. There's no excuse not to. TL is streaming a lot.
Yeah.
Great. Here's the thing I will say though. Streaming does not mean all that much if you are not promoting it elsewhere. Twitch is a rich get rich system. Okay. And every player from North America, if you don't have fans, look at Jojapune. If Jojapune was streaming to NA fans, he would get 1,000 viewers at most. But because there's Spanish fans that want to tune in, he's getting 6,000 to 7,000 viewers a stream. Okay.
Yep.
For North America, you're not at the point where you have fans that are tuning in. So you know what you need to do? You need to stream, but then you need to turn that into content elsewhere, into shorts on TikTok, into clips on Twitter. You need to grow a community. You need to grow as a content creator and do all of that. That should be like, you have to do this shit. Otherwise, the whole system is going to fail. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Now that you're back, the comparison I was going to make, would you say that Michael Orr was a homegrown talent from the family that adopted him? Yeah,
see where
yeah,
you're going with that.
yeah. Mom made him go to Ole Miss because that's where her school is. She literally picked him off the street whenever he was,
Yeah. Well, they taught him football.
They did not. That came out to be false. He knew
Oh,
how to
did
play
it?
preemptively. Yep.
Well, then that completely changes the thing.
Yeah, it ruins the entire movie of The Blind Side.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It
that
does.
changes that. But for Berserker, I'm saying yes, he played like challengers over there. I understand that. But when none of them would give him a shot, we did.
Or were we just the first to get him? Because Joe would want him to go to North America and not play in the LCK.
That could be true as well.
Don't know.
That could be true as well, but it didn't do them much good because then they let Pays go right up through, and he basically slapped them around for 2 years.
Yeah.
Regionally speaking, I get they won out of region, but
that's all assumptions. We don't know. But
no, and I mean, I think it sucks because when you lose a guy like that who could have green carded or was close to it, that's a pretty big loss.
agreed.
That's a really big loss, especially when he's basically a top 3 ADC here consistently.
I am also curious to see what the league looks like with C9 not contending for a title. How long has it been since like C9 went into the year with unanimous opinions that they stand no chance of winning?
Yeah, not many. I mean, I don't really know if they have ever in a while, not since the TSMTL days.
I have not seen a single analyst say that they will be able to win a split over TL or FlyQuest. Look, that's not saying to chat before I already see the C9 fans freaking out in chat. First and foremost, fuck all of you. Second, okay. No, seriously, love you all, but fuck C9.
It's my loungers, not my loungers.
Look, there's not a single analyst that has put them in the top 3 at all. And you like any reasonable person is going to sit here and say no, they have a long way to climb to get up to TL and FlyQuest level.
They do.
So no, you were going into this year for the first time in a very long time without the expectation of possibly being able to win it. It's been since at least 2019 since that was the case. At least.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not like uber confident in them. I know a lot of people who aren't. I know a lot of C9 fans are talking themselves into Sven. Now, I will say C9 did do one thing that I like is when you build a roster, you need to build it to like actually complement each other.
Which that they did.
And I think they did a good job on that. I think that roster can actually complement each other. I think Sven can play a little more lower income while letting Blabber play that high income he likes to play, and that's always good. I just think when I overall look at the team, there's not a ton of teams winning straight up just because of their jungler.
Yeah.
And nobody else playing well. Like their Thanatos is gonna have to take a step up a little bit.
He's good in
I know
lane, but he's
people
not
like
beyond that. Not to the level
yeah,
of
beyond
other
that
people
he
in
hasn't
the
done a
league.
lot. Yeah, and he's been good. He just hasn't been like perfect yet to the point where you're like, okay, this is completely like this guy's gonna stomp everything. And they needed that last year and they didn't have it. Mid lane they just need consistency. That's really it.
Yeah, Loki, we
And
have no clue how that's gonna turn out.
absolutely none. And bot lane, we know what they are. Both of them have been in a downtrend in their career, I'd say. And this would have to be an uptrend. Like it would have to be a pretty
it
decent
would
one.
have to be a pretty
And
sharp reversal.
Lucky for them though, Berserker's gone, so bottom lane has gotten a lot weaker for NA here. But I think I kind of feel FBI to 100 Thieves is like that same thing I would think of with C9's bottom lane. And I know that's going to sound outrageous to them, but I do think like at FBI and what is it? FBI Ayla and a
Yep.
Vulcan Sven are like both in that tier of where I'm like, I don't know what you are, and I don't really know where to put you.
I will tell you
that's
this:
what
I put FBI Ayla over Vulcan Sven.
you do.
Yeah. When has Ayla?
I'm
When
sure
has
you
Ayla
do.
lost
You're
to
100
Vulcan?
Thieves. I don't know.
In a meaningful match, when has Ayla lost to Vulcan?
I don't know. I don't really pay attention to those two that much.
He hasn't. That's the whole point.
Fair enough.
That's like that's been the rivalry
that's
for
fair.
years. It's like Vulcan, for whatever reason, cannot beat Ayla when it matters.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. And I think both of them are so far below what TL and
Yeah.
Fly are running.
Oh yeah.
It's tough.
I could see FBI, to Storm's point in chat, I can see FBI Ayla cementing themselves as the third best bot lane in the league. They're
Yeah.
as much
no,
as I love
could.
them, and I'm biased towards 100 Thieves, it would take such a massive level up from Ayla for them to be able to get on the level of Yonkor JJ, let alone Masu Buzio.
Mhm.
Because I think Masu is just like Masu has already shown peaks above FBI in 1 year
Yeah.
of playing in the league. And that's whenever FBI was playing at his best. Like I specifically remember whenever FBI took over the league. It did not look like Masu did on the international stage like that. So
Mhm.
Masu already has a higher ceiling. Like it's going to take a significant level up for them to get there. That said, they're still above the rest of the bot lanes in the league.
Mm.
Who are the other ADCs? You have B-Voy and CEOs for Shopify. Lions, I don't even know. It's irrelevant. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't care. Give me a reason to care,
Yeah.
but maybe we'll find out. They got licorice. I know that much.
I mean, they won't matter, for being honest, but I think it's just gonna be one of those. It's C9 definitely has an uphill battle. I think if you're a C9 fan, you're just not going to think that it's any good, right? That what other people are saying about them could be right. You're just gonna be like, oh, this is such bad takes. Sven was on a bad team, so obviously he's gonna be fine. And it's like, yes, he was playing all right on a bad team. People act like he was playing insane over there. He wasn't like solo giga carrying games
No.
or keeping them in games. He was like doing a decent job on a bad team. And all of them were doing bad. Like, that doesn't make you good.
Yep.
And I get you can play up with better players, but I mean, how much work do you really think a rookie mid and Blabber are going to do? Like, do you really think they're going to just solo carry you through this whole season?
Yeah.
Like, maybe by the end of the year they can get to that level. That's what you're hoping for. So it should be kind of make sense to a lot of C9 fans that, we have them pretty low early on.
Maybe they'll actually come out swinging. Who knows? I don't think that will be the case. I don't have faith in that. But
Because Thanatos looks good, but Thanatos also has like some serious things that need to be fixed. Like if he wants to take the next step. I mean, I know Jojo had a really bad series, that last series, and that kind of crushed them as a team. But I mean, none of them were looking like they were just crushing it.
this is gonna be you, by the way, in a few months.
Yeah, except for the baby.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
falling
Yeah.
asleep in your arms. Yeah.
Yep. We'll see. I mean, she's being born during March Madness, so that's her fault. I don't know if she'll be sleeping in my arms, but she'll be listening to me yell at people.
I mean, you guys will be pretty good come tournament time, but
Yeah, this is another one of those years where they're looking pretty fine.
question, because I know we're already getting up there in time. Is there anything you want to talk about LTA wise that we can't push off to like next week? I can't really think of like any major headlines at the moment.
Not too many. I don't like the Palafox pickup.
I agree, but I want to save that for next week. We got time.
That's fine.
We got so much time with the off season.
We have a lot of time.
I know you live close to family, so I doubt you're traveling for Thanksgiving. But next Wednesday is the
am.
Wednesday. Oh, you are traveling for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
When do you leave?
Ooh, Wednesday. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's what I was asking preemptively.
Mm.
Do we want to do Tuesday next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We will both need to remind each other because I will probably still
Yep.
forget, but we'll try to remember.
I could be traveling earlier. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And I'll wait till off stream to tell you why. But I could be traveling earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final thing I will say then, now that we got that set, because I did mention Arcane in the title of this video. And we barely got to it, but did you catch up on all the episodes?
Yep, I'm done.
I will say anybody that is watching on stream, and let me do this real quick. Let me type a little message, little thing here, and let me bring this over, or crossover podcast. Let me add text to the screen. If you want to tune out because you have not seen Arcane yet through Act 2, Arcane spoilers currently. I'm going to have Arcane spoilers written in text on the screen to signal in the VOD when we are talking about it. It realistically is going to be from now until the end of the podcast. So if you decide to dip out now, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. See you in the other videos. But what are your thoughts so far on season 2?
Still feels like it's there. They have the fastball, and it's just as good. I mean,
that you were iffy on it
episode
through 4 episodes.
I was. Well, I had one harsh critique of it in episode 1. I didn't like where the funeral was, and instantly people were just like, "Oh, you must hate this," and I was like, "No, I don't fully hate it. I just thought it wasn't living up to." 4 episodes in, I was like, I don't know if it's living up to season 1 yet. I need some payoff. And then end of episode 4, I think that's when Warwick came out, or was that episode 5?
Episode 4, they were at like the prison. They were in Stillwater.
Yep.
And Warwick comes in.
And yes, that ending I liked a lot. That really made it start going. Episode 5, it kept. I mean, there's some cool animation in there too, some good stuff.
Yeah, I
And
fucking
then
sobbed like a bitch. Episode 5.
you did?
Oh yeah, the
Which part?
Warwick reunion, family reunion scene, dude. I was in tears.
Oh,
I was
okay.
I
Fair
was
enough.
bawling my eyes out. The
Mm,
I watch it in the living room with like full surround sound, and
yeah.
the song just started swelling, like the bass starts rumbling in your chest a little bit, and like it just dude, it hit it hit
Hmm.
hard of like the family coming together.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have that much, but I still liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still really liked it. And then episode 6, the beginning animation was just awesome. Like Victor going through all that stuff was really cool. That was very good payoff. I do think they did a good thing episode 6. Before I got in there, I was like, man, there's a lot of storylines going a lot of weird directions. I like this needs to come together somehow. It's getting a little convoluted, and it seems like there's just too much going on. And then episode 6, I think, brought it back. So I'll give them that. They did a
I
good job there.
I'm still a little bit on that page where it's like I don't know how you cleanly wrap this up. There's
Yeah,
still so many loose ends.
they definitely have. I'll say this season, the reason I felt like it's lower than season 1 is because a lot of the story feels like they're kind of going in depth on some things and then just skipping to parts where they're like, ah, man, we just went way long on that. And they just kind of skip to something big, like the Caitlyn and Bessa, the Noxus group showing up at Victor's place. Felt like they were just like, we got to get this going a little bit. And I know they chatted about it a little bit, but it felt like they were like, we got to keep this moving, and they kind of are pushing them in there to get it through.
That I guess that's where Khan and I had a disagreement as well because he felt like the Caitlyn heel turn was a little rushed and like not flushed out. I thought it
Hmm.
was very appropriate because the thing that I said to him was he's like it didn't make sense after all this setup to then have that happen. I was like, so you're telling me you've never made a spur of the moment and extremely emotional decision, then woke up the next day with post nut clarity in this particular situation and been like,
Yeah.
I might have overreacted just a little bit to that moment. I might want to
Yep.
and like there was enough signs throughout that entire part, especially when she was like when she called out like Dr. Reverick for Singe. That let me know
Hmm.
that like she's more in control of her grief than she was the last time. Like last time she was acting very emotional. She's kind of like taking a step back and is thinking more
Yeah.
clearly. And Caitlyn is the type to like actually think through shit. So that, and I think she like it was very
Hmm.
clear. She's a very observant person. They've made it very clear throughout this entire series that she will pick up on details that people don't. The second she saw Mbessa and Singe talking together, and she knows
Yeah.
Mbessa's motives, she's gonna put together real quick what Mbessa wants out of the situation.
Yeah. And I understood them, going, oh, we caught Singed, so really quick, we can go find Warwick and use him as this huge tool. And that's what they were doing. But I don't know, I just felt like that part, there wasn't a lot said. It was just like moving through the story,
Yeah,
you know?
no,
It didn't
it makes
feel like
sense.
it was building. And the way they were building it wasn't really like, I don't know, wasn't that, just didn't feel like much to me. But I get it is what it is. They got to get through a lot.
I
And then the fact Echo and like Heimerdinger have just been
that is gonna.
gone.
I know that's gonna play a big part in the next
Yeah, it
season.
has to.
It
It's just been
has to.
weird.
It,
Been very strange.
it's weird, but my logic on this has been Fortiche has done nothing to give me a reason not to believe in them.
Yep.
I will not sit here and be like, they're kind of soiling it. I don't have faith. Like I'm giving them full faith until proven otherwise. that they will be able to wrap this up and they will be able to bring everybody back and be able to take care of this shit.
Yeah, that's my kind of belief too. I'm not. I know I was like, and I still stand by. I think season 1, I just felt more.
Okay.
I felt more engaged. Like I definitely did. I think this season has been a little more like I haven't been fully locked in every episode to everything going on. See, episode 6 was honestly the most, like, I enjoyed that one the most by far of all of them. I thought that one was one of the better ones.
Where would you put it in terms of like, if you were, I want you to do two things. First, what's your top 3 episodes so far, including both acts of Arcane?
I mean, probably what the final episode of season 1.
So episode 9, season 1. 1.
Yeah. And then I would have, I mean, I'd have to look back at season 1 and look at all
Yeah, but I mean, just gut feeling.
the quick rundowns. Well, because I'd have to remember. I think the one, their dad does die in that season, right? He's not pre-dead.
Vander? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
he's Warwick now, but yeah.
Yeah.
That
No, I'm
was-
trying to
that was episode 3.
remember the one. Yeah, episode 3. So it'd be 9, then 3, because 3's the one where they're kids, right? And 2 of the
Yep.
kids die.
Yep.
Yep. So 9, 3, and then this one. I think 6. I really liked this one.
Yeah. I would personally go 5, 9, 6.
5, 9, like
5
from this one.
5 from this season.
Okay,
9 from last season. 6 from this season.
fair enough.
think-
I mean, that one scene didn't have as big a hit on me, so
The reason why, I mean, for me, it's not even just that one scene. It was the entire episode of like
fair enough.
them giving a lot of backstory that was needed. It felt like, to me, episode 5 felt like. Did you watch The Last of Us?
Nope.
I can't say this then. Shit. Episode 4, for those that have seen The Last of Us. The one with Ron Swanson. It felt like that for me. Where like you're progressing the story a little bit, but you're also taking the time to flush out some details that will like really help you emotionally connect with the character. And it really hit home for me for whatever reason. The thing that I said to Khan was, I think this act 2 of season 2, edged out act 3 from season 1 as my favorite act of all of Arcane. Like if I had to order them specifically, it's season 2 act 2, season 1 act 3, season 2 act 1, and then 2-1. In that order. Like in terms of like all 3 episodes together as like that specific section.
Mm-hmm.
This latest act, that's what I'm so worried about for the finals, like because it just hit me hard for whatever reason. It was just the peak of the peak.
Yeah. No, I mean they've done a good job through season 2. I definitely think there's been a lot more fan service to League people.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And this one hasn't really been for the general audience. That might hurt them going deeper. I know, like, my wife was willing to watch season 1. She wasn't interested in watching this one, so I figured there's that fall off anyways. But what was 1 part 2 that? Oh man,
1 part 2
can't
was
remember
like
the point.
that was where like
No. I was trying to remember a point. My bad.
Oh.
1 part of like
Sorry.
as well. My bad. But what were you saying?
I was gonna say season 1 act 2 was when Vi and Caitlyn first like linked up and like were
Yeah.
exploring the underground and do all that fun jazz.
They still haven't like fumbled the bag, I'd say. I think it was perfectly fine. I definitely would like to see them go more movie route next maybe instead of TV.
Doesn't
If
sound
they
like
care
they
about financials.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I don't think they care
you
about
can go
financials.
movie though. I just don't think it's possible anymore.
Maybe not.
Because think about the level of detail that we're getting with each of these acts. Imagine trying to condense that down to 2.5 hours. for a
Mhm.
full story. I feel like it would just move too quick. I feel like
Yeah, but
Arcane is just one of those that like it's gonna be a great series every time. Give it this level of detail and let it go all out. And it's great. Speaking of all out, soundtrack for season 2. Oh,
very good.
dude, I have had the Heaviest the Crown version from Arcane on repeat for a week and a half. The Mako song from episode 5 has been on repeat. Uh, Paint the Town Blue hits hard, especially with the world's opening ceremony. Hits really hard. Uh, what's the other one? There's one other one from Act 1 that I'm trying to remember. Oh, fuck. Why can I not remember it right now? It's actually pissing me off. I've only listened to it 20 bazillion times. You would think I would remember at this point. To Ashes and Blood. The one with the fight scene from Act 1.
Mhm.
Oh, dude. The chanting in that chorus. Oh, it's like a drum.
Yeah, is good. Is really good. I think they've done a good job this season again. I mean, I'm excited to see for where they go next too and how this wraps up. I think movie as far as like I think it'd be better for the financials and maybe just getting it farther outreach. A movie would be more interesting, I think,
Here's what I'm
but
going to
they don't seem to care.
here's what I'm gonna say you do, okay? And they need to be way more smart with this time or next time around. Do another series, do another 9 episodes. I like the structure that we have going. Put the final act in theaters. Let us watch it in a theater.
Yeah,
Imagine if everybody around the world got to go watch the Arcane finale on a Friday night at a movie theater.
yeah.
In IMAX with like, oh, dude, imagine an entire theater watching act or season 1 and that finale in a theater. Imagine the uproar that would happen immediately after the lights turn on.
Hmm.
Everybody should get to experience that.
Yeah. No, they should. And really, my only problem was I don't
The
like putting
funeral.
funerals at the beginning. That's it. And I knew when I said that, people were gonna instantly be like, "He's just gonna hate on it the rest of the season." And I was like, "No, I just think that one thing I don't enjoy in a movie trope that much."
The only
It is
thing
hilarious watching Jinx just be forgiven quickly too.
I
Movies
don't
love
think she
doing
has
that.
not been at all. Caitlyn, like, there's a difference between like putting your differences aside for like your my enemy becomes my friend for a common enemy.
Yeah,
So like I think that's what's happened. It's not like everything's been forgiven because like we're kind of like the end of Act 2 was basically like a hyperbolic time chamber in a way of like this weird community down there that's like separate from Zaun, separate from Piltover. It's just like a completely different world. So it's like them
hmm,
teaming up doesn't bother me there, but the second we get back to reality, those differences are not going to be able to be reconciled and is going to cause an issue, especially now with Vander dead, with Isha dead. Jinx is going to lose her fucking mind.
oh yeah, 100%.
She's gonna lose, and that conflict between Vi and Caitlyn and Jinx is right back in the center of things, but even more traumatic now.
Yep,
So it's
which
coming.
will be good. It'll be good.
Yeah,
That's what I'm here for. I like the death. It's really why I watch. So
we will see.
I know
We
nobody wants to hear that, but that's what I'm here for.
I'm here for the music at this point. Riot Games is a music company that just so happens to make good animations, but that's beside the point.
True.
Mako proven to be the best thing that Riot has ever picked up, or best person that Riot has ever hired in their lives, other than Christian, like the creator of this himself.
Yeah,
And now there's multiple seasons, by the way, in development.
I hear that. I heard there's multiple,
Yeah. My biggest thing for
and
them,
he'll go
don't
hard.
don't overstretch yourself. Don't fall into the Marvel trap. Don't do it. Like, just take
Well,
it, have a plan. All this needs to be deliberate. You have to make sure that you protect yourself throughout all this because, as every other cinematic universe has shown you, you can soil it real quick, especially given the
they
standard that you've set.
100%. They're 100% going to have one of those issues, and that's just life.
I don't want to think about that. I want to live in my fantasy world where everything is perfect all the time.
Yeah. I mean, there will be a point where they try to make it perfect, and it just probably won't be, but
Any guesses, but ahead of the finale, where they set up for us to go next, or if they don't at all, and it's just like a separate series that spins off?
After the finale, where do they go next?
Yeah. Betting odds are obviously Noxus, but
Yeah, I mean, Noxus, if they don't want it to be the direct, like, correlation to Arcane, I would feel like they would go away from Noxus. Personally, I'd like to see Bilgewater. I think that'd be most fun. I love pirate stuff. But my guess is Iona. They love Yasuo. Or
they
Ionia.
better not touch them. There's so many fucking stories between Yasuo and Yone. We don't goddamn need another whole series.
No,
I
they you
what I
you
think,
think
and I think you
they'll
might be onto something with Ionia. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because I think now that we've got a taste for Noxus, all right, we got a little dribble in it. Okay. We're not going full blood into it yet. You don't go into it for the second season yet. Or for the second series. You go to Ionia and you establish some of the lore there and like get a baseline of Ionia. But you know what happens at the end of that series? Okay. Noxus again coming in. Their greasy little fingers meddling things in again. The Black Rose getting sprinkled in. And then the third series, you do Noxus. Or basically, like, my mind is like, you set up, like, basically, you use all the other series, like, tease Noxus the entire time. And then when you finally introduce Noxus, you have a plan for, like, okay, we're covering all the shit. And we're just letting them
Mhm.
go at it. Ionia versus Noxus, the war there. Like, Demacia, I think, would be great at some point. Maybe, like, 3 or 4 seasons in. I don't think right away. Despite the fact that I would love the architecture of Demacia.
Yeah,
But
no, that's fair.
all right, we've almost been going for 2 hours. I should probably cut this off so we can all do our thing. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I'll have a video probably on T1 that I think I'm gonna record as like a final goodbye to this roster because regardless of whether Dom is happy to see him go, I'm personally not. And I want to say my goodbyes and cope with grief when it comes to the loss of this roster and the legacy that could have been. But that'll be out on Friday. Next week, bunch of other videos coming out. I'm trying to see what else is in the docket, but obviously everybody's going to be gone for the holidays, so I need to make it a little bit more generally appealing. So we'll see where we go from there. Oh yeah, Arcane season 3 or Act 3 reaction. And then also for those that don't know, and a reason why the podcast will be great on Tuesday, because I'll have a video film for it for Wednesday as well. The new season 2025, gets revealed on Tuesday.
Hmm.
So we're gonna have a lot to discuss on Tuesday. So that's gonna be it for
Yeah.
us. Anything you want to get out there?
I hope this season's actually as big as they're saying. I hope it's good. I don't know. It's split three. Split three sucks. I don't know if they need to fix it or what, but this has been like I don't really like the 3 splits thing
Neither do I.
for ranked.
I missed 2. I think 2 was
And I
plenty.
also think it's way too much work trying to rank up every single split. If you have any sort of life, and maybe I'm just complaining because I have a child on the way, you are just hosed with all these splits.
Yep.
If you want your marriage to be good.
If you want to have
Or
a
have
life.
any other hobbies. Yeah. If you have like one other hobby, you're basically just doomed.
Yep. I agree, but we'll find out next week on what they decide.
Yep.
So that's going to be it for us. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for tuning into episode 150 of the Crossover Podcast, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.